This is Anything for the Story. Welcome your hosts, John Dayton and Mila Simon.
Welcome back to another episode 4 of Anything for the Story, the podcast. I'm John Dayton.
I'm Mila Simon.
And we have a very special guest with us this evening. Very funny. Comedian, writer, Mr. Tyler Dark. Give it up for him, everybody. We'll put in some claps there. Some claps. There he is. Man. Look at him. Yeah, so Tyler writes for Hard Times, and he also is the creator and also a writer for The Bringer, which is a satirical website, correct?
Yes, satirical. It's satire that focuses on the comedy, on stand-up comedy and the comedy industry in general. And we have open submissions, so check out The Bringer on Facebook and just send a direct message to that page if you have some headlines you want to pitch. If you feel like, if you want to follow it, if you want to write for it, like I say yes to almost everything at this point. So I'm like, it's a very new site.
Yeah,
and it's something you got
to push out content. It's just like us, you know what I'm saying? Where we got to push out content as much as possible. And you guys are doing the thing, man. The Bringer's looking good.
It's, I mean, like I'm still operating on the most basic of formats, and I owe more than that to the writers at this point, honestly. Like I really look forward to when I can like start paying people.
I'm gonna start. Get that.
I'm trying to like come up with some fundraising efforts and ideas and stuff so that I can. The first thing that I'm gonna do is like get that money back to the people who write the stories.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then like just try to build the site, get it involved with this membership service called Coil, the Hard Times Reductress.
Right. Yeah.
A few of those other pages have like you can get exclusive content from all those sites with Coil. It's $5 a month. I'm gonna try to get the Bringer onto that. So, we'll start sending out some exclusive content that you gotta, that you have to pay for.
Right. Yeah. See, and that's the thing is once you start getting money, that's where that's the deal. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're always working for. That's the same thing with us. We're trying to get sponsors, trying to get, some kind of monetary gain from something. You know what I mean? And it's always eventually the main goal for it. But, yeah. And then I've seen Drew Landry. He'd put out some bangers on there, man. Hilarious.
Drew
dude.
Is a beast.
I'm telling you,
Drew is ridiculous.
He is. He really is hilarious. I swear to God. Like, have you heard of Drew Landry?
I have not, unfortunately.
Oh, dude, you gotta add him on Facebook. He's fucking hilarious, man. He
Drew Landry. Drew Landry was my first good friend in comedy. Yeah, I remember when, like, he and I met in Baltimore. I was like almost 7 years ago now, and he was headlining. Fucking right. Like he was like 19 at the time. He was fucking headlining, and I had a set before him, and we ended up talking, and we just became friends, and he ended up like I was maybe like a couple months into comedy when I met him,
right?
And he ended up like getting me onto shows that I would not have been considered for, otherwise.
For just a couple months, yeah.
And in return, I would give him a ride there. Like that was pretty much it,
dude. That's so cool.
But he liked my stuff. I mean, like he didn't think I was a piece of shit. He wasn't. He was a really cool guy. Is a really cool guy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we would just go to shows together and shit. And he got me in front of people very early. So I owe a lot to Drew still. But I'm so stoked to be in regular contact with him again for this because he's a great writer.
Oh yeah, dude. And that's the thing. I bet like as the editor with him writing for you, like you don't have to do too much editing. You know what I mean? Like I can imagine you don't have to do too much.
Exactly. It makes it it makes it easier and more fun. And his stories are regularly. I love every story that I get just because it's like, I'm fucking running a thing here. This is cool.
Right.
I appreciate anybody's doing for me, especially if I can't pay them yet. But he's like, his stories regularly get the highest analytics.
Yeah,
like
the
most reads.
Did he have I know you did like the recap of like your best articles that you had done. Did he get number 1 or number 2 or something like that? I had seen.
He got like 4 or 5 of those slots. It was like, I know he got number 2 and number 3. Right. I got lucky and got number 1.
Hell yeah. Which one was that one?
It was I think the headline was Pete Davidson refuses to pay $20 to watch the King of Staten Island. Because Ashley and I were talking about that. I'm just like, $20? I'll bet Pete Davidson doesn't even want to pay that shit. Dude, so I turned it into an article.
That's fucking amazing. Have you seen that
movie? But the best... I haven't. No, I'm not paying $20 to watch it. Lorne Michaels isn't paying $20 to watch it. Like,
and he took him on vacation.
yeah. It's just like $20. You want another shrimp scampi, Pete? On me? I'm not watching that movie if you want. You're not tipping, bud.
Oh my god!
Money doesn't grow on trees.
That's so funny.
And a tree grows in Brooklyn, not Staten Island. But fucking, what was the best articles, or the ones that get like the most attention, are I've noticed, and I kind of feel bad about it because it feels like clickbait. It's the ones that have a real celebrity's name in them.
Oh yeah,
like
sure, dude. I get that. Yeah,
because it's like they'll read it, be like, "Oh shit, Jeff Dunham did," and then it's just like, "No, it's
at all." Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I get that because like I've seen like obviously like satirical websites like on Facebook or something like that, and it, as long as it has a picture of like someone famous and says their name in it, my brain is always like,
I want to find out what
I gotta see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll at least get a click out of it.
Right. Yeah. And see, that's all that matters. As long it's just a little bit of traffic. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it comes down to, especially on an actual website. You know what I mean? That's what we're actually getting our website together. We have to finish Savannah's sister is actually the one that pretty much designed everything, designed the logo behind us, designed everything.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
she's getting
Is she a graphic designer?
Yeah, dude. She's very good too. I think she's a realtor now as well. So
yeah, so
jack of all
nice.
trades.
Buy a home from her,
and she'll design the inside.
It's weird you say that because my brother is also a graphic designer. He
really? Cool.
He did the digital rendering for The Bringer, and he's currently looking for a house to buy.
Oh shit!
I thought you were gonna say he was in prison.
Right? That would have been
like impressive.
Yeah, no, I was just supposed to say, actually, these two have nothing in common but what they like to do artistically.
He has a very checkered past, my brother.
Yes, and it affects his work beautifully. You'll have no idea what you can learn about graphic design after a few years in the hole.
So, Tyler, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, to just get your general why you got into comedy. You know what I mean? You've been doing it for a good while now, haven't you?
7 years.
7 years. That's longer than I've been doing a lot of shit.
Yeah,
it's the longest I've ever done anything.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing. That's so crazy because Facebook reminded me Facebook is the longest thing I've ever done. It was like you've been on Facebook for 10 years. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, actually, no, I've done Facebook way longer than stand up.
But what got you into comedy?
I was I grew up doing theater. Like I've done theater my whole life. I still miss it. I would love to do theater again.
That's the same thing with him, man. He was in theater the entire high school career. So
yeah, it's like it was the shit. It was, and I was lucky enough to have like really good theater teachers. And I went to Baltimore School for the Arts for 9th grade. Oh shit! And I got kicked out.
Dude, what a story! Oh my god,
it's not a story. It's not a story. It's not a story. The school police officer caught me smoking weed. I was 15.
That's the exact same thing that happened to me. And
he went to McDaniel
for theater,
and I went up to visit him. And we were smoking weed on campus and got busted by the campus police, and cops got called. We got taken to we had to go to the police department to meet with the commissioner. Yeah, dude,
up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then they uninvited me back to school.
They said, "Don't come back."
Damn. Pretty much. I was like, all right.
Yeah, no. Apparently, there was it was very it was an unmonumental departure for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even. I wasn't on school grounds. It wasn't during school hours. But the school officer caught me.
Oh,
so for that reason, no. I agree. It's absolute bullshit.
Right.
But
I get it.
It
still happens.
I was about to say I was 15. It's not. I don't. Fret over it now.
Right.
But
God, that's crazy.
But yeah, so I did that. Like I went to UArts for a year. I didn't get kicked out. I just didn't go back because it was a pretty terrible school.
Yeah.
But I've just always been into theater. And when I moved to Baltimore for the first time when I was 20, after college, I wanted to like explore the Baltimore theater scene because I always like that was where I was introduced to like really fucking good theater, like at Everyman and Center Stage and all those like really awesome venues. Fells Point Corner Theater, like all like the little places where you can see like weird ass shows and shit. Like
that's what we have. What's the Players Club that we have down here? One of our teachers is like the lead there, Miss Hearn. Okay, our art teacher. She's incredible.
She's not my fucking teacher anymore.
One of our old teachers. Like, I'm so sorry.
but it was like I wanted to explore that, but I also thought like I want to try stand up.
Right.
Like I had been writing jokes for a few months and none of them were good, and I didn't end up using any of those jokes.
No, I get that.
But I was just like, this is like, I want to try this. I want to give it a go.
Right.
And I ended up just being really disillusioned with the whole theater process, just because I was like, I got callbacks, but I never got cast in anything.
Yeah.
And it was just like heartbreaking all the time.
Right. And that's why I never wanted to get into like, I say acting, but like I didn't want to have to go through that audition process of me trying to remember lines and then constantly getting shut down. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of avoided that part of things. I wasn't in theater. I never did theater. I was lights and sound. So
I was
just in the back. So that I wasn't.
You're the backbone, man.
I stopped being good at that after a couple years. So
and there's so much expectation behind theater, like especially like when you're a lead role or almost anything that you're doing in it. But there's just like I feel like there's just so much pressure, and in comedy, I'm just like if I fuck up, it's my fault. Like like,
it's all. I mean, that part of it was like I just always thought comedians were fucking rock stars. Like ever since I was a kid.
Yeah. See, and that's
like that
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always looked at comedian like that was just the type of entertainer that I thought was like that's fucking cool. Like,
right, and I guess that has to go with like kind of the comics we had growing up. I know you're a little bit older than us, not too much older. How old are you, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Yeah, okay, so you're only 2 years older than I am. So
I started when I was 20.
Yeah, exactly. So I waited a little bit. We waited a little bit. I didn't wait on purpose. I just life didn't allow comedy like stand up to come into my life until I was like 22, I think.
Yeah, because I moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I met Wendy Townsend because she was the bartender at the Outback that I transferred to in Baltimore.
Yep.
And I got talking to her about comedy, and she was like, "Oh, well, you're gonna do a show." Because I told her I was thinking about it. She was like, "Well, you're on for Wednesday at the Emerald Tavern." I was like, "Sweet."
Wendy's fucking cool.
Yeah, dude. So we drove up. Was it for that one? It might not have been for your first. It was for your first one. Yeah,
the first one.
So we drove up and I watched Mila do it, and I sat down, and the headliner was Stefan.
Yeah,
from Big Time in Comedy.
Nice.
So, and our relationship with them, you know what I mean? So and that was before that any of that began, before I even got into it. So he killed, fucking absolutely killed. We were outside smoking cigarettes, and he comes through like the bar door swings both ways, and he kicked the door open. He was like, "Which one of you boys got a cigarette?" And I was like, "Oh, I love this guy." I was like, "This guy's gonna be one of my best friends." So I was like, and then from there on, we started, or I'm not gonna say started, because Josh Pryor ran an open mic at Mojo's, which is where you ended up going a few times too. And there weren't too many comics. I think Norm Robinson was one of when I originally saw, like, I'm going to say my first live comedy was Norm Robinson at Mojo's, just fucking around. So we started over there, and then we decided, Mojo's is such a small venue. Like it's tiny. Like, and that's the thing. Everybody, no matter what, they're going to be taller than you, because all the stools are like bar stools. So like everyone's looking down on you the whole time, and you're like, man, like I don't know how to get everybody's attention. It's such a small bar. I got to scream at everyone.
And it was just an open mic. People weren't necessarily expecting comedy. People are still talking in the background. You're like, I can't demand them to listen to me if it's not like even a comedy open mic. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like when we did the open mics like that, it was like, there could be nobody here. There could be like 3 people sitting at the bar, and I'm just going to have to like molest them with comedy real quick because they weren't expecting it.
So,
that happened a few times.
Yeah, right. Especially at Salisbury.
They had that like children's drum set that was right up by the mic. I was like, what is this baby drum set doing here? It's like, what child is coming here and playing the drums?
Like Josh always set it up, but I think I've only seen like 2 people play it.
Yeah, there'd be like some like ska
opportunity to play. 2 members of the Lollipop Guild that could actually fit onto that drum set. That was a tiny drum set. It was a child's drum set.
God, that's amazing.
That was what always perplexed me about, was like, who set this up and who's going to play it?
Are they going to bring a child?
I never saw anyone play it. Yeah, exactly. Like, who's bringing their 3-year-old in for like drumming practice.
Oh my god!
So I was going to ask, what's the most notable place you've done comedy at?
Mojo's. Definitely.
Oh god, what a good answer.
I think. I mean, notable is.
It's a broad.
I mean, I've done
open-ended.
If I had, I mean, probably Gotham.
Gotham. Yeah, no, he's no the actual comedy club, Mila.
I know.
Yeah, no, like
now.
They summoned me with a giant signal in the sky. And,
Dark man.
I just.
Yeah, no, I can't be that. Cannot be that.
And you did you host or did you feature for Eric Griffin? And
I hosted.
Goobies. You hosted for
Josh Caderna was the feature.
Yeah, dude, and he is a banger too. He headlined at Snifters for Big Time in Comedy, and Snifters is tough. It is tough. It is a tough crowd every single time. They're very dry, and he managed to bring them in like a questionable show up until the headliner. You know what I mean? Like because of the comics were good, but the crowd was less than ideal, very less than ideal. And Josh brought it back, dude. Killed it. It was amazing. But,
Josh is great.
Hosted for Eric Griffin from Workaholics, dude. That's what
I remember.
Go ahead.
At one of those shows, there was a dude who was he was heckling Josh while he was featuring, and I don't know if he was heckling or he might have been like talking to someone, and Josh was like about to ask him to quiet down, but then he noticed his hat, and he was like, "Are you wearing a bedazzled Tennessee Titans hat?" Like, and he just ripped on him for that, and I was just like, "That's amazing." He was just like, "I fucking love Marcus Mariota." Like, shit is bedazzled.
Oh my god.
And Eric Griffin made fun of the cyst on my neck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he just shit on me for that like 3 times in a row, like to the point where I was like, all right, this isn't funny anymore.
It's like thanks so much.
I was like, this is new to the crowd. It's not new to me.
Not to me. Yeah,
it sounds very new. I know it sounds like he's just making it up, but he said this 4 times already. So
okay. It's like I've been here all weekend and he said the same thing the whole time.
Yeah, and I have to go back and be like, thanks, Eric Griffin.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure working with you. Thanks for taking my spot on the couch and stealing one of my chicken wings and being kind of a dick for this. It's like, no, he was cool. He was like, Eric Griffin was like, it was just that weird dynamic where it's just like, I'm clearly less experienced.
Oh, for sure.
I clearly have way less credentials than you, and we're both hyper aware of that.
Yeah.
But then like by the time, I don't know, like I felt like he was being very cool by the time like we were the second show.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing.
But it was just that.
They had to warm
that typical
up.
Intimidation factor.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. And that's like the thing when and you kind of go into, if you're like doing a show with like a nationally touring headliner or something like that, you go into it kind of like a little bit nervous because you know that no matter what, if you're hosting, featuring, guesting, whatever, you are the lead up to that. You know what I mean? And then they're also going to be watching if they're not like a complete asshole and they're somewhere else completely, you know what I mean? They're at least catching some of your set. So you want at least a little bit of that set to be decent. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I'm always nervous about.
But he didn't stick around to watch my stuff, but I feel like that's very typical of people. Like, and I didn't blame him. I wasn't I was just like, true. No, he probably has to think about the hour he's about to do.
Right. Exactly.
It's still an hour. You still got to do it, no matter who you are. You still got to do an hour.
For sure. And that dude, and once again, I'm not a veteran comic whatsoever, and I've seen you. We had one show together at where was it? It was the
Dickens?
Theater, Dickens Theater, and I went up and I think I insulted old people.
It's hard not to there.
And then old white people, so really hard to offend. But they were I insulted them somehow because I told the joke about my neighbor that used to beat his grandmother in the head with a pillow.
Yes, I'm aware.
So I told that, and then like I could tell the crowd was getting like a little angry.
This feels too real.
And then
I'm seeing myself in that grandmother.
Yeah, and like I remember I got off, I pretty much ended it a little early. I was probably like 5-6 maybe a little bit more minutes early than I was supposed to actually end it, and I got off and I was like, Tyler, how long did I go? And you were like 10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I thought so. I thought so. I was like, that didn't feel good. But I went back.
It was all good.
And I went back and there were still the same old people. I told a different joke though.
Yeah, but like that was a room where like dicks were served on a silver platter to be eaten by every comic that went up. Like,
I know, dude. It was tough. But you came back because he had to save it essentially because I cut off some. Like I cut off more time than I was supposed to. I did fuck it. I fucked
save it. Just fill the time.
Exactly. He had to fill the time, but that means he had to go longer than he was in his mind originally planning to go, and he fucking killed it. So I got to give that to hats off to him. Yeah. I can't.
Thank you. I did not kill it.
But and from at least the comic, sitting on the side of the stage watching you do it, I thought you killed it. Plus, you were making some serious love to that shoestring fucking candy stuff that you bought right before. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, that stuff is the shit.
He was eating it like this, and there was a guy watching him do it.
I was just like, yeah, you saw me doing that and you wanted some, didn't you? You wanted me to give you some shoestring.
He was like, I wanted it bad.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it did look pretty good, actually.
Oh, God.
I forgot about that until now. That's funny as shit.
Oh, man. Yeah, so my question is, I got another one for you. Out of your recollection, when is the worst time you've ever bombed? And I know every comic gets that question, but when is the worst time you remember in your body like, oh fuck, it's happening? Because
it was at a show
in
DC. It was a show in DC, which is, in my experience, in my personal experience, I know it isn't the worst city in the fucking Milky Way galaxy to do comedy, but it is the worst city for me to do comedy.
Right.
Like I've just every time I can't fucking. I did one show at DC Draft House that went I did a set there that went pretty well. And that's it. That's the only good set I've had in DC. And it was at the show. And I remember, I don't know. I said one joke. I forget like how I phrased it. It's not a joke I do anymore.
Right.
But, because this was years ago, this was like when I was getting started out, but it was like, I remember, somebody in the audience yelled, well, fuck you. And then everyone else in the audience erupted in applause.
Oh, no.
They all cheered louder than they did for any comedian for someone yelling "fuck you" at me.
Oh my God,
that's kind of impressive, though.
But I still had like 5 minutes left, so I had to just stand up there and eat it. Like it was just because there was no there's no coming back from this.
No,
Drew Landry was there. Drew Landry was there.
Yeah, good times. He
had a good set. He did great.
Yeah, I think this wasn't the worst time I've ever bombed, but I had a situation very close to that when we had an open mic at Roadies, and I remember it was a group of old people, like a very large table of old people. And as soon as I got on stage, I was like, I addressed them because they're sitting up front at a comedy show. You kind of have to let the people up front know, especially if they're elderly, you're probably going to get fucked with. So I was like, you guys are going to either want to turn your hearing aids down or your pacemakers up, because it's going to get raunchy. And then that started it off. I remember saying something else.
So what had happened was the eldest gentleman, I don't know if that's a word, eldest, is it? Yeah. Okay. All right. He was walking by and you were addressing him, but he did not hear you. And so you said something about him turning his hearing aid up. And the rest of the family was not a fan of that statement.
Yeah, and I remember he dropped something.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, you dropped your hearing aid."
Yeah,
and like in hindsight, a little dickish to the old people, but you got to do what you got to do.
And then they all proceeded to get up, and the mom of the group flipped off John and was like, "Fuck you."
She was like 80, dude. Like,
fuck you.
Literally, like she stood up, and I was like, "Did I piss you guys off?" And she went, "Fuck you," and I was like, and then the crowd erupted. So I very much feel that. And so,
which I was upset because I had some great Alzheimer jokes down the barrel for them, and I was like going third. So like,
I sent them off quick. That was in my opening my opening host set of like 10 minutes. I wasn't even like 5 minutes into it. So
shit. Yeah, God. But I've done very badly.
Yeah.
Like if many times, like I think of that one time, but I think of a bunch of other times too.
Right,
so.
And that's what in 7 years, you know what I mean. You've been doing it longer than both of us, So you're going to have more time under your belt. You're going to have more experience, and like you've gone on more stages, so you've had more time to bomb. You know what I mean? So like I get
and that. I have used that time to the
wisely.
Fullest. I have bombed. I have bombed. I have really like I hear about comedians who are just like, yeah, I don't really bomb. I never really bomb. I'm like, what?
Must be fucking nice, buddy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I spent like 3 to 4 months doing nothing but bombing,
right,
before I ever had a decent set.
Like, yeah, and that's I remember like my first, because like when I did Mojo's originally, that wasn't my first open mic. I went to one at like the Purple Parrot or no. Bull. It was
Purple Hippo.
I don't know, some a color and then an animal bar in Ocean City. And I remember there was an open mic there. I just turned 21. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. Fuck it, let's do it. And I went, and it was like maybe 10 people in there, and there was like music playing and stuff like that. So I was like, oh fuck, this is a music open mic. So I was like, I asked the guy, I was like, hey man, do you mind if I still do it? Like, I know I can't sing or play a guitar or anything, but can I try? He was like, I guess. And I was like, okay.
Thank
so
you.
I went up, dude, and they hated me. They hated every second of me. And it was mostly like bikers in there, I think, if I can remember correctly. And I had like Vans and like cuffed khakis on and shit, so they did not like me at all.
May as well have been wearing a shirt that said "fuck bikers."
Yeah. If I just had it tattooed across my forehead, I hate motorcycles. Harleys are for bitches.
Yeah, fuck on one fist, moto on the other. Fuck moto.
Yeah, I've definitely had
what it means. You know what it means. I don't have that many fingers. I just love the idea of you like sheepishly approaching somebody like, look, mister, I can't sing or nothing, and I can't play the guitar, but I can tell a fine joke or two if you'll let me.
If you just give me a chance.
That's what I Johnny
Cashed just give me a shot,
man.
mister.
I Johnny Cashed him. I was have you've seen the Walk Hard?
Oh yeah.
When he was like, you have shaken my belief in the Jewish people. He was like, you took a wonderful song and you made it unrecognizable. I could just imagine if I got off the stage and the booker or whatever his name was, the old country man that said okay, if he was just like, boy, if you ever come back to my bar again,
you ain't welcome around these parts no more, son.
You said you were a funny man, then you went up there and you pissed your pants.
I did.
Get out of it! Def Leppard suck!
I had a very weird night in Crisfield, Maryland. And Crisfield's a very barren place. We did a comedy event at a country club on Old Country Club Road in Crisfield, Maryland, out in the middle of nowhere, dude. Like Country Club Road is like a 2-mile long dirt road, and it's just existing. So we go up to this place. We're like, are we about to do comedy for like a Klan meeting? Like what have we just gotten into?
Like the sticks of Crisfield.
Yeah.
So you hear in the background. Ding.
Like, so like there's no one around. Where are those voices coming?
It comes down from the holler.
This is my first
from the
time
woods
ever hosting. I've never hosted before. So this is my first time ever hosting. I'm with Stefan and Eric, and I forget who the other two are. But
one was Beth Hayden.
Yeah, Beth Hayden was there, and I don't remember who the dude was. Honestly, he was funny though.
Yeah,
but we go in.
Shout out to you, dude, if you're listening.
Yeah,
dude, it's a full crowd. Like there's I'd say 60, 70 people in this room. Lot of old white people, all white people. Like I'm just like, all right, this is gonna go well. I'm sure of it. And like the dude comes up and he like offers us something to drink. He's like, yeah, can I get you like something like alcohol or something? I was like, yeah, Captain and Coke. He's like, oh, we have beer and wine. I was like, cool. I'll take some wine then.
Like, that's it.
Their stage is
you said Captain and Coke, and he was like, we have beer and wine, like it's a cocktail.
Yeah. They pour it together in one glass, and that's your beer wine.
There you go. They have one big speaker and a corded microphone, and then just like a wooden platform is the stage, just in the middle of the room. And then there's no green room. The rest of the comics have to sit in chairs behind the comic that's performing, looking at the audience.
Shit.
You were just watching the comic's ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, we did not know this, but they have also not eaten. Like, there's food being prepared, but they're about to sit through about, 2 hours of comedy
and then eat.
So
Like, they're getting
served
comedy
food.
thrown at them on an empty
that?
stomach, dude. I don't know. That was the thing, because like it was out of Eric's hands, because he's usually like in charge of shit, like, you know what I mean? But what they get served, or when they get served, he has no control over. So he was like,
yeah,
oh fuck, these people are starving. They're gonna hate comedy for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I start off like I'm hosting, and I've never done this before, and I start like basically I start putting in my material. My materials, like I have like some abortion jokes and shit, like, and that's what I went off with. I'm just starting the show off with this, and then I brutally fuck up the introductions of the next two comedians. Number one, I introduce the wrong comedian first. So I did that. I introduced Beth Hayden, and then the dude comes up and he's like, well, I'm not Beth Hayden. And then I murder the word Magoobies. I don't know what I said. Like
McGroobers.
I said like Magloobies or something.
It's fine. It's a silly name. It's a very
Beth
silly
Hayden
name.
Goes up. She's, a woman in this room, a female stand-up comedian, which obviously is sometimes very hard, but can especially be difficult when you're in Crisfield, Maryland.
Yeah.
A country club, an old country club road. So it wasn't the best night for her. And then my Lord and Savior Stefan came in and saved it.
Was he headlining?
Yeah, he was the headliner. He had me introduce him as like the number 3rd comic in all of Slovakia or something like that. And he did his first 10 minutes in an accent. And then just broke out of it, and
dude, and it is. I've seen it many times, and it is so incredible how he can, like, he snaps out of it, and people are like, oh shit, because like Stefan's, he's got the dark, like the olive skin, the darker hair and beard, so he looks Slovakian, he looks Czechoslovakian, like he looks like Russian. So if he pulls that accent, people are like, okay, this guy's pretty funny, and he's got an accent. Then he snaps out, and people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And he
wild.
saved the night, and you could definitely tell they were getting testy because they're so fucking hungry.
So you can't hold food away from people while they're watching that. Like,
I was like,
it's not really... When people order food during comedy, though, I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
right, yeah.
Just,
it's like, that
you ever wonder that?
thing.
It's just like, really, you're eating a porterhouse at a fucking open mic? Like,
you got a spoonful of mashed potatoes in your mouth, and you're going to tell me you're not going to laugh and spit those out?
Yeah, it's just like you ordered dessert. You ordered dessert. Are you fucking kidding? I remember one time I went to a show. I went to see Doug Stanhope at Magoobies.
Oh shit!
And it was so awesome. We sat like right in the front. And do you guys know Jim Meyer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he opened for him.
No,
really?
And
fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And but I remember at some point there was this like enormous man who was also sitting in the front row, and he had ordered a slice of cake like at the beginning of the night, and he just hadn't touched it. It was just sitting there right in front of him. And Doug Stanhope comes out, and the first thing he says, he's just like, you better eat that fucking cake right now. He's just like, I've been waiting for you to eat that fucking cake all night. You put that fucking cake in your mouth now. He's just like, you don't come out here and just order cake being you and not eat it. He's like, you fucking eat that cake now.
Oh my god. Dude, that's so
it fucking it was amazing because apparently he was just sitting in the green room like, when's that guy gonna eat his fucking cake? Oh shit, I know.
That's all he's worried about the entire time.
Yeah, well, he's just gonna get drunk and tell stories. Like,
right, yeah, see, that's what.
So he's good, which is what he did.
Right, dude, and I love that's the thing is like that's the era of comedy we grew up on. Like my favorite comic is Dane Cook. Well, you know what I mean. Dane Cook, Vicious Circle era Dane Cook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pre-Dane Cook, Dane Cook.
Yeah. Before his brother. Before he found out about his brother.
Yeah, before he found out about Abel.
Yeah, right.
Abel Cook. Biblical humor. There you go.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, so my one of my favorite jokes, and I'm gonna segue this, and this is gonna be a very impressive segue. One of my favorite jokes that I told myself and have written is, and I was gonna start with this joke Friday night at Lefty's, but see the transition there? I'll get us there. Tyler. But one of my favorite jokes is do you think Jesus was just really good at close-up magic? Like, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is I never saw Jesus walk on water, but I have seen Chris Angel walk on water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all I'm saying is if we send Chris Angel back when Jesus was romping around, that's how he romps. When Jesus was romping around, he'd probably give him a little run for his money. He'd do his little levitate thing, and he'd be like, "Mind freak," and they'd be like, "Oh my God, he's the prodigal son."
He's like, "Hey Jesus, you want to see some magic?"
And he's like, "No." He's like, "You want to watch me turn water into wine?" He's like, "That's my trick." But
Jesus. Have you seen?
At the end of that,
what else is orange?
The end of that joke goes, and how do you think the birds and bees conversation went between Jesus and Mother Mary? You think baby Jesus was like, "Mama," and I don't know why I always give Jesus a southern accent, but it just comes out that way. But he's like, "Mama, where do babies come from?" And Joseph stops the whole conversation. He's like, "Yeah, Mary, where the fuck do babies come from?"
Yeah,
that's my biblical humor, and that's as far as I go.
Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, where do babies come from? I've never made one.
But this was the transition here. I wanted to talk about the whole Lefties thing with you because I wanted to get at least my story on footage. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm very glad to be talking to you of all people about it because you were the person who experienced it.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to get that out. What happened was we went out. I talked to Joe Cawley. I talked to Ryan Grimes. I talked to everybody. Macy. I was like, so there's a show. I just saw the poster. I didn't know too much about it. They were like, yeah, there's an open mic before if you want some time. I was like, okay, fuck, sure. You know, I haven't had stage time in a little bit. So we went out. We showed up around like 8 o'clock. I think the show started at 9. Showed up around 8 o'clock. We're standing outside talking, you know, shooting the shit. Socially distanced, by the way. And nice. We're standing out there and we don't have a whole lot of direction. There's nobody that's, you know, usually you show up and there's like somebody that's like, okay, this is where you need to be if you're on the show, like a green room or something like that. And that really wasn't happening. So we're standing outside and then this guy, Ike, comes out and he's kind of barking orders. He was like, all right, I need the talent to come inside. What are you guys doing outside? And we were like, okay. So we start to go in and I guess just he goes, I know, I need the talent. And we were like, oh, so is that like the comics? Or he was like, yeah, just the featured comics. He was like, open micers aren't talent. And I was like, oh, okay.
So he said that, he said those words.
Yeah. So
open micers aren't talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were like, okay, all right, no problem. Which it is what it is. I don't care. He had no idea who I was or who Mike Williams was, or you know what I mean. It is what it is. He doesn't know that.
Yeah, you're like, okay, you're a dick. Fuck you. But
yeah,
whatever.
I was like, whatever. I still want stage time, so it is what it is. But the confusing part was he goes, did the people who were with the comics make reservations for seating? And we were like, oh shit, like Savannah and Ryan's girlfriend, and we were like, oh shit, no, because. You know, we didn't think about it. We didn't think it was like to make reservations because it didn't say to on the flyer or anything. So he goes, okay, well, let me see what I can do. And then he goes inside for 2 seconds and walks right back out. Like he just goes into the vestibule and then walks right back out. And he goes, okay, I got a table for you. We were like, who did you ask? Like, who did you go inside for? But he comes back out and then he stops us. It was like me, Mike Williams, Ryan's girlfriend. And I think that might have been it. It might have been somebody else that was behind me. But he stops us and he goes, what are you two, the strippers? Like to Savannah and Ryan's girlfriend. And you know that thing women have to do when when a guy says something shitty to them, they have to laugh it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have to go, okay, yeah, I guess that's us. That's kind of what Ryan's girlfriend did. And I hate it. I hate when that has to happen. You know what I mean? So like
because it doesn't have to happen.
It doesn't have
to
happen.
But it's up to us to make it not happen.
Exactly. And that's the thing.
And anytime you fall short, which I so frequently do, I'm just like, God damn it, I could have done more. I could have been a better fucking ally, but I didn't.
Exactly.
Because I'm a fucking coward. That's how I think of it.
And
I know that you're not like that.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It rubbed me. He had already rubbed me wrong, and then he dropped that, and I was like, I had my mask on, of course, but like I looked at him. If he had seen my face, my mouth, like my jaw dropped. I was like, okay. So I walked inside and I looked at Savannah. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I was like, I've once again, no veteran comic, but I've been in the game at least long enough for me to know that I don't have to take disrespect, and especially disrespect towards, my girlfriend, just for some stage time. And that was what he said. He said, I asked how much time, and he said 3 if you suck, 5 if you're good. And I was like, okay. I was like, well,
fuck you.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't need to take that for 5 minutes at maximum of stage time. So, then we went outside, we got in the car, and then I don't like to, as a host, if someone no calls, no shows, or comes up to me and then doesn't, when I call their name, they don't come up to stage, that infuriates me. You know what I mean? As a host, because I've hosted plenty of shows where comics or open micers sign up and then I call their name and then they've dipped. You know what I mean? Which makes for a pretty shitty show. So I walked up to him right as I'm getting ready to leave, and I was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm not going to do the open mic tonight because of the way you're acting, and the way you spoke to my girlfriend was pretty disrespectful. And he kind of like stepped away from me, and he looked at me and he goes, well, you have no future in the comedy business. And I was like, oh. And I was like, all right, man, that's fine. And then I just walked away from him because I was like, I mean, like, I love when people say that. Like, and I know, like, there's people that have never heard of me. There's like, I'm not big shit whatsoever. But like, when someone hits you with that, you're like, you don't know me, fella. Like, yeah. What? It's always the people have a future. Like, yeah, and it's just like, hey, I don't have a future in anything. It's like, no need to be specific. Comedy. Like, and since then, I mean, you saw the Facebook post got fucking blown up, which I figured it would happen like that because I know I have the backing of a lot of comics, and I pride myself in not being a huge dick and not being a huge piece of shit, which I have been in my life, which I have been, and mostly to him because I just really like to fuck with him. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. But I pride myself in not being shitty to everybody, you know what I mean? And not being shitty to, like, especially comics starting out, like, as an open micer. When I was doing like an open mic, if like the head honcho was like, hey dude, don't be like, you're being shitty, or he's like, if he was just being a dick to me or something like that, then I wouldn't want to do comedy anymore. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, as a host, I don't like doing that. So when that thing happened, I was like, well, this is kind of fucked up. So I had the backing. It got pretty big. And then I wanted to mention something about your post, because I agree with you. I agreed with your post wholeheartedly, because I think what you were saying was, and this is, you correct me if I'm wrong, if you want them to keep that same energy for bookers that have clout, that have like that if there's a booker that will be able to get you on a very good show, very well paid, but they're shitty human beings, you just want them to keep that same energy. Am I correct? Yeah. And
even more so, right? If everybody did that, those people wouldn't have clout. They wouldn't have their power. It's like, but it's just, and also, like you said, first of all, I want to note that there's a reason you had all the backing you did. Right. And one, first and foremost, you're funny as shit. You're a good comic. Like, when having you on a show makes it better than it would be if you weren't on it. Right. Yeah, so that's a fundamental thing. I just want to let you know that means a lot coming from you, because starting out in comedy, you were one of the ones that I looked up to. So I really appreciate that you need to stop that right now, because that's then you absolutely won't have a future. I mean, I really do appreciate that, but I couldn't be more not shit. Like, yeah, I get it. I just that's the thing, man. You watching you as a powerhouse, like, and that's my opinion. Like, I've seen you do 5 minutes. I've seen you do 15, 20, 25, 30 to almost an hour, and like, you're versatile. So that's where I appreciate it more than anything, is that I mean, when it comes down to a show and someone's like, hey, I need you to do more time, or I need you to do less time, you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna bang them out either way. So that's what I appreciate about you. I mean, I think it's just fundamentally about making people laugh. It's just like, that's really what I want to do.
Right.
And I also want to note that I'm totally guilty of having been a dick to other comics.
Right.
Having projected my own insecurities onto other comics. And I'm even guilty of that same gatekeeping shit I'm calling out. Like, I know that at some point, whether it was intentional or not, I know that I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I've done my best to avoid situations like that, but I have set open micers straight, like when it comes to them not showing up or them no call, no showing, or like, hey man, can I get some time? But not if we have like pre-sign-ups, I'll be like, listen man, the pre-sign-ups are there for a reason. The people who signed up go first. Then if we have time, I'll throw you on. But that's I like to think about as far as I've usually gone. But it's don't let me. I have the thoughts. I have the shitty thoughts. Like, so.
Oh, we all do.
I just want to let this be known. I want to put this on record. I am the equivalent of a dog's chew toy to him. Okay, and the people behind the scenes. I'm the Macaulay Culkin of this operation all day long and night. And
I wanted to read some messages to you that we had a conversation last night, Mila and I. So it started off
conversation. Yeah, let's call it that. It
started off. Okay. But I'll be with you tomorrow. I said, will you? He said, yes. Hence the statement, Trisket dick.
Well, hold on real quick to preface this.
Trisket dick. I already like it.
My boss of my former job asked if I wanted to go to Philly with him and stay the night because he had rented a 5-bedroom house and wanted to go to a casino and a strip club and very nice restaurant. For like another guy's bachelor party that got canceled, but he already rented the house. So he invited me and John. And so
I gotta have warning. I can't just do that.
And I know. And so this guy is very spontaneous. Yeah. Like he'll just go to the casino, be like, "Let's go to the casino and blow $1,000."
So that's why he said, "I'll be." I told him, "Go ahead."
And I said no. I was like, I told John. He was like, "Absolutely." He's like, "I don't want to do that, obviously." And I was like, "Okay," but I was like, "No, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna be with you tomorrow." Uh-oh.
What?
There we go. Okay, we're good. We lost you for a second. But either way.
I was sorry. Someone just tried to call me and I was like, decline.
Yeah, no, we got more important things going on here, baby. So he said, I'll be with you tomorrow.
Student loan collector. I've got more important things to do.
It's like, I don't need to pay my cell phone bill.
No.
So he calls me Trisket dick. I just said, oh, cool. He said, LOL what? I said, LOL what back to you, fucko. He just said K. So I sent
approximately 32 Ks back.
Just Ks, just a bunch of Ks. And then he said OMG. I said K again. He said what? WTF? Wow. Then this is where it gets interesting. I said, you little bitch. I said, you got a tiny ass fucking butt. And there ain't shit you're going to do about it. Besides maybe do some squats. Fuck you. I'm going to replace your fucking knees with your elbows, motherfucker. Make him face the wrong way, walking like a fucking emu. He said, boundaries, man. Fucking boundaries. I said, you're a fucking emu. And then he sent crying faces. And then he said, real quick, what time tomorrow, talking about this, recording a podcast? Then I don't know if you saw the pictures. I made him into an emu.
I'm also at work.
He's at work when this is happening. So I made him into an emu.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then I said, fucking emu. I said, I can turn you into any animal. And then I said, does that answer your question? And then I said, 11:11, make a wish. And then I said, I wish Mila was a fucking snail. And then what pissed me off, what really started all of this, like me turning Mila into stuff, was his answer. He said, when I was talking about the turn his elbows into his knees, he said, I'm pretty sure that joint that you're referring to as the emu's knee is actually an ankle. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you.
It's like, damn, fucking avian knowledge on fleek.
So, and then I turned him into a snail, and then I said, wish come true, and then he said, dude, you're physically hurting me, and then I said, oops, a mealris, and then I turned him into a walrus.
I was laughing so fucking hard.
And then I said, I heard the mealris has the second biggest penis on any mammal, behind the blue whale, and then I turned him into a blue whale, and then I said, this is just for you, and turned him into a pegasus. And then he turned me into a giraffe, and he thought he won. I don't know why the fuck he thought that. And then I turned it into a Facebook post. So who really won, buddy?
That's dope.
Yeah,
that's real. That's I'm just like, I can turn you into any animal I want to. Like,
I woke up, I woke up to the post that you had tagged us in, right? Which is the anything for the story post, because he didn't tell me any of this. I woke up at 1:17 p.m. I looked at my phone. It's the first thing I saw, and I called him, and he answers the phone, and he goes, "What?" And I was just like, "You're such a motherfucker, dude."
See, that's the thing, is I'm able to not be mean to like anyone else, is because I'm mean enough to him. I get it all out on this guy. Oh, awesome. Goodness gracious! But all right, dude. Well, we're getting close on an hour, so
cool. We didn't talk barely at all about the whole lefties thing, which is kind of refreshing in a way.
Yeah. Like, I feel, but either way, I mean, I got it off. Lefties reached out. The manager of Lefties reached out to Savannah to apologize, and I'm gonna make a post on Facebook, commending them, because they mentioned, they were like, I mean, it's just, it wasn't. They were supposed to run it at like 7:00 originally, which 7:00's a little early, especially for lefties, since it's not an actual comedy club. You know what I mean? So they pushed it back to 9. And then they were certain guidelines that he'd given the host, and was like, minimal cursing, minimal, keep everything low, because it is, once again, a bowling alley with kids running around and stuff. And he didn't run that information by any of the comics. So the comics were like, it's free for all. You know what I mean? You kind of have to give them that kind of information. And then the manager was like, yeah, everybody was dropping F-bombs. And I was like, yeah, well, you gave those guidelines, but the host didn't give the guidelines to the comics. So that was one other issue that we had. And I was like, either way, he reached out, he apologized, and he mentioned something about Big Time in Comedy, because I'm a partner with Big Time in Comedy. So he was like, if they can, run a better show, then I would love to have Big Time in Comedy come run a show. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's perfect. I was like, because then, Big Time in Comedy, I know, can run an amazing show. You know what I mean? So, and that's Eric, Stefan, that's full-time headliners. And also, go ahead.
I was going to say, what if the guy who said you have no future in comedy gets his venue booted and replaced by you? It's too beautiful. It's too beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it all comes down to. But I'm not trying to gloat, and I'm not trying to rub.
That's something to gloat on, man.
I think that's really fucking funny.
Yeah, that's delightful. That's absolutely that fills my heart with joy.
Exactly, me too. And like, that's the thing. I want positivity in comedy. I want positivity in the Delmarva comedy game, which, once again, not that huge of a thing. That's why this blew up like that. It's pretty tight.
And that was just it. Like, I mean, it was like, it blew up really big, and it was just like, none of you even know this guy.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the
like
thing.
It was.
I've done stand up with maybe like one of the, I think, Sean Leverett, and that's probably one of the reasons he came to bat so hard. But I've only done one show with him, so I think maybe he's like, we're all just dried up because there's been nothing to do.
I don't know anything. I have nothing to say about anybody specifically. Like,
right.
I've actually all I've ever heard is Sean Leverett's. I've never seen him perform, but all I've ever heard is good things.
Right. So, yeah. And see, that's the thing.
I mean, I don't have it, but it's just like, it's sort of like, it's just like, this behavior it's not anything new.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
It's something it's very rampant. And I was just like, yeah, there's a person who's absolutely in a position to call this guy out and to call him on his bullshit. And it's John, because this happened to him. Like, but anybody who thinks they're making a difference by, trying to shut this guy down, regardless of their intentions, I'm just like, right. That's great. I mean, you're doing the right thing. I don't think you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, but like you said, keep that same energy. You know what I mean?
That's all I'm saying, because that toxicity runs deep, and it runs like, it's so enmeshed in the industry that it feels like it's something that a lot of people feel like they just have to deal with. I can't imagine being a fucking woman trying to do that.
Oh, dude, and that's what we had that conversation the other day, dude. It's just like,
holy shit.
And like, once again, I've seen female comedians have to do the laugh it off thing because of all other male comics that have said shit. And like, before, I didn't say anything. Like you said, like I've seen other male comics say shit like that to female comics, and I didn't say anything. You know what I mean? But there's got to be, you got to draw a line, and eventually, you know, we can weed those people out. But, you know, it's one small thing at a time. I'm no fucking hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just like, here's the behavior we're willing to tolerate. And it's just like, that's it. It's across the board. It's like, well, we'll tolerate it if the guy has enough money, or if he's got, you know, if he can get me booked somewhere in New York. It's just like, you know, you shouldn't tolerate it then either.
Exactly.
Because honestly, a lot of those people are on their way out anyway. Like, it's like people who end up doing that shit, and people who are like, I was like, if I could think of a good, like someone who I've only ever heard is really just does things well as a booker, it's Andrew Unger from Magoobies. And I'm not saying this because he never books me.
Right.
So this isn't based on personal experience at all. The guy won't answer my direct messages. Like, this is it. But I know based on literally everything, I was just like, if he doesn't want me at his club, it's because he doesn't want me at his club. It's not because of anything. It's not because of any gatekeeping bullshit. He's given a ton of awesome opportunities to a ton of people who might not have had them otherwise, myself included.
Right, right, absolutely.
You know, this isn't someone who's kept me barred from anything. Like, it's, you know, he's, you know, he sets a good example.
Right, and that's the thing. That's
please book me.
Right. I'll tag him when we post the video.
I still do this from time to time, and I do very much appreciate what you do for the comedy industry. Dude. Yeah. And please book me.
We have to set a good precedent for like Eastern Shore and East Coast comics, because the LA comics are just a bunch of pedophiles. It seems like.
Yeah,
so, you know.
And yeah, that's gross.
We gotta show them.
Real gross.
Gotta weed out the kitty tuckers.
We're stand-up gentlemen as well as stand-up comics.
Yeah,
and we're not pedophiles.
Yeah,
we are not that.
I'll put my stamp on that one.
Yeah, that's got the John Dayton seal of approval, folks. Not pedophiles.
Oh God, but so I think we're good.
Yeah,
that was a good episode, my man. We got all the facts out. I really appreciate seeing you and talking to you. Yeah. And hopefully, we've almost got the green light for Roadies to have the open mic again. It's up to 75% capacity. So
hell yeah.
That means at least one other show that you're not gonna. I'll be the host, so you know you're not gonna get sexually harassed. Well, you might.
Yeah,
but
I was about to say it was what changed, John.
Oh God, but yeah. Once again, everybody, I think we're getting ready to sign out. So we appreciate everybody for watching and listening. This has been episode 4 of Anything for the Story, the podcast with special guest Mr. Tyler Dark, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, my man. See you later, buddy.
See ya.